What's up guys, today we're going to solve this Leetcode problem called group anagrams. Let's just jump right into it. Just don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow me next.
So first off, let's read it out loud. So given an array of strings, strs, group all anagrams together into sublists. You may return the output in any order. An anagram is a string that contains the exact same characters as another string, but the order of the characters can be different. And they're giving us some examples. So strs could be like act, pots, tops, cat, stop, hat. So the output would be an array that contains other arrays, and each one of them of this interior arrays contains the words that are anagrams of each other. So for example, hat doesn't have any other word that it's an anagram of. And then act and cat, stop and pots, tops are basically the same words, but with the letters rearranged. Let's take a look at the first answer right off the bat that someone could think of, right? The naive solution or approach here could be to have like a nested loop, like triple nested loop that goes over every word, and for every word it checks all of the other to compare if they're the same or not, probably using another loop inside to check every letter, right? A triple nested for loop, so a complexity of big O of n to the third. We don't want that. We always want our problems to be solved with the lowest computing time possible, right? A quick hint here is that basically every problem that involves comparing every word or letter or whatever for the naive solution probably involves a hash map for the best possible solution. So let's start with that. Let's just create a hash map first. We're going to create a hash map of string and a list of strings, okay? Why is that though? Well, first off, they're asking us to return an array of arrays, right? So what we're going to store in this hash map is a string. This is going to be the key, and I will tell you right away the trick here. That is the key that we're going to store, but then the values of the hash map are going to be this inside arrays, and then we'll later combine into one big array to return it. Equals new hash map generics, and there we go. Well, I forgot to say, but I'm using Java here because I like it. I love the language. And if you have any problems, well, the code will be in the description, so you can just copy and paste it to your favorite LLM, and probably it will translate it to any other language that you want, for example, Python. So kind of the trick here to be able to compare the words without having to go over and over them all the time is to rearrange them in alphabetical order. Think about it. If they're arranged like that, words that are anagrams of each other will be the same. So for example, the word cat rearranged like that would be act, and act will stay like that. So now we have the same word basically, and the same goes for every word. So basically stop would be OPST, and the same for the word pots and tops. So for string s in strs, so we're going to create an array of characters that we're going to call chars, and what we're going to do is separate every string into an array of characters. So we get that by doing s dot to char array. So now to sort it in alphabetical order, what we do is array dot sort chars. So now that we have it arranged properly, what we do is create a string again from this array of characters. So we're going to transform the array ACT, for example, in the word act. So for that, we create a string that's going to be called string key, for example, because it's also going to be the key of our hash map. It's going to be equal to new string of chars. So we're almost there. Now the hash map comes into play. So what we're going to do is use a method of the hash map in Java. Is called compute if absent. So map.compute if absent. So what does this method do? Well, basically it's the same as doing an if first. If it exists, it returns it, and if it doesn't, then it creates the entry and returns it. So as the key, we're going to use the key we've created, and then we pass a function that's going to be applied if it doesn't exist. So that's going to be our new array. So new array list. So what we're doing here is creating each one of the arrays inside of the big array that we're going to return. What happens is, if we look for a key, say act, if it exists, it's going to return this like already existing array, and if it doesn't, it's going to create it for us. And we're just lacking one thing, and it's adding the actual word to the array. So we'll explain it again. Basically what we do is look for a key, for example act, which is already in alphabetical order. If there's no entry in the hash map with that key, it creates it with that empty array list. So basically every word that is already stored in the array has a key that is arranged in alphabetical order. So if it doesn't exist, it creates the entry with that key in an empty array list that we add our word to. And if it exists, we simply return this list and add our word to it. So now the last step is to return our values. So return new array list map.values. And there we go. Let's run it. Okay, we have a problem here. The problem is I wrote array, but it happens to be arrays. So let's run it again. And there we go. Both cases were accepted. So now let's submit it. And there we go.
So I hope you guys liked it, and see you in the next one.